Well, it's official. Almost everyone likes the Skeleton Crew, and I usually buck the trend, but no, I don't disagree with the general consensus that this was pretty good. So, episode three was decidedly a little weaker. Episode four was a little stronger, especially with the humor. There's a lot of Spielberg in these episodes, and Stranger Things is definitely a big influence. And I've only seen a little bit of Stranger Things, but I'm not a big fan. However, it never got too annoying, and the music especially was very well done in episode 3 and 4, but episode 4, I think, was decidedly better. So, what is occurring? Episode 3 had a big burn because this is really when the story begins. So, episodes 1 and 2 were just the skeleton crew gathering themselves. Now that we have Jude Law, off we go, escaping pirates and on to adventure and misadventure and some deceptions going on with who is Jude Law? Is he really a Jedi? Think it's pretty obvious he's not a Jedi, but the kids are very naive. So like, hey, he's a Jedi. So there we are. So he and the not Jedi are going off in tangents together. So was this well done? Yeah, I think the adventures so far are pretty impressive, especially the creature design with Brutus. That really stands out. Brutus is appropriately frightening, and I cannot not make the comparison, but compared to the Wolfman that Universal's putting out, I'm like, wow, it is night and day, and that's just one aspect of these stories. So yeah, Brutus was well done. The pirates were appropriately frightening and terrifying. Creature design was excellent. I was spoiled on a few twists and turns, unfortunately. So you want to come this very raw because the twists are predictable, but I still think they were well done. I will say the voice acting was a little weak with a certain character, which I will not name because that would spoil things. So overall, pretty good from the standpoint of directing, acting, and visual effects. Although you will notice if you pay attention, the models do stand out. However, this is a cut above Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And again, I didn't have too many problems with either one of them, but one of the dilemmas was definitely they were done during COVID, so they went overboard on the so-called volume. Now, the Mando has also suffered from that, but they usually are able to balance it out, and this does a pretty good job. So if they used any volume here, they did a good job of hiding it. Yeah, the other Disney shows seem to just go crazy with the CGI. This one seems much more balanced, and I appreciated that. So where are they going, and what is the big adventure? Well, that frankly is not that interesting. I think the main story of them just getting lost and trying to go back home is kind of like whatever. That's not very interesting. However, they are leaving some mysteries that are intriguing about the supervisor. Who is the supervisor? Because a lot of people were complaining from the trailer that the world they're from does not fit Star Wars, and guess what? It does not. So apparently, it's a very special planet with a special supervisor. Who is the supervisor? Ooh, it's a mystery. So okay, all right. So they're adding a little to the lore with a few more details, and there we go. Maybe that'll affect your experience with Star Wars. But this can just be read as a very self-contained, very Goonie-esque kind of adventure story. But episode four really stood out in how funny it was. And again, a lot of the jokes don't work, but one of the kids gets a very interesting hero moment. And yeah, it was appropriate. I actually believed it for a couple of seconds. I'm like, okay, it seemed a little overdone, but I did like it. So you'll probably come out of this with a lot of smiles and you will chuckle in the right places. That said, were there, quote, a few woke moments? Yeah, there were a few that stood out. One of them was not as bad as people were getting horrified, like, "Oh no, they're putting that in there again." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever. That wasn't really too intrusive." There were a few moments with a certain female character which felt a little bit much, but it is organic to that character. But there, I think the actress needs to do a better job, frankly. So a mixed bag in a few places, but for the most part, a very enjoyable, very very lighthearted kind of adventure story. I'm sure we're going to get more twists and turns, and it'll get a little dark. Some people will die off, but nothing too serious here. So I'm going to give episode three a 7 out of 10, and I'm going to give episode four 7.5, but a very strong 7.5. So overall, yeah, very above average. We're definitely different from the Acolyte, where the Acolyte just had a lot of weak episodes and only a few standout episodes. The consistency here is pretty strong, so nothing too terrible yet. So at least for what nearly two-thirds of the Skeleton Crew, you'll be mostly delighted. I'm happy to report. So there you go. Enjoy yourselves for once in the Star Wars universe.